Judge Joe Brown's all-new barbecue sauce and seasoning. Justice in the form of flavor.
Law firms will take this as a retainer.
What? It must be a law firm where they hungry as hell. Now you gonna help me with this parole I'm dealing with?
Judge Joe Brown's all-new barbecue sauce and seasoning. Justice in the form of flavor. With one taste of our premium blends of all-natural ingredients, herbs, and spices, you'll fall in love with meat all over again. Judge Joe Brown's all-natural barbecue sauce collection is made up of 2 zesty flavors, original and spicy. There's only one way to bring order back to barbecuing. Just add Judge Joe Brown's all-natural barbecue sauce and seasoning, and you be the judge.
I keep forgetting to press the mute button. Hi. I'm like, hey, y'all. And y'all never hear me. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Man Up Thursdays with Judge Joe Brown and me, the real Dana. So I went and got my hair colored yesterday, and I love it. I'm actually going blonde for the winter. So this is just like the beginning phase of it. And then probably like in December, you'll see me like as a full blonde. So this is like strawberry-ish. So anyway, hi. We're gonna have a really good show today. Please hit the like button and please share. So what are we going to talk about? We have to talk about the YSL case and the First Amendment because it goes hand in hand. Yes, it does. The judge is allowing YSL rap lyrics to be as part of evidence in the RICO state case. And then another member, DB or BB, pleaded guilty. And we got to talk about it. So, when the judge come on, he's going to break down why the judge of this case allowed the lyrics to be brought in as evidence. And what does that mean for artists, particularly rap artists? And what does that mean for the First Amendment here in the United States of America? Is this the end of chipping away our freedom of speech? And speaking of freedom of speech, I want to talk about the FCC, right? Giving the Biden administration basically state control over their internet. We're going to get into that a little bit later in the show. And of course, we have to talk about the migrants, the migrant crisis that's going on in Chicago, the illegal migrants in Chicago. They're illegal. They're not legalized asylum seekers, even though our federal government is approving them to be asylum seekers, but they officially really do not fit the definition of asylum seekers. Maybe if you come from Venezuela, because the president said Venezuelans are asylum seekers, but all those other people are not. So we got to talk about them because guess what? Chicago is rolling out the first 5,000 work permits now this week, putting on people to work, giving them housing, everything. And Black people in Chicago have the highest unemployment rate than any group in Chicago. Yes, they do. What else? It was something else that I wanted to bring up. We may have a guest. I don't know because I did not get full details. I don't know. I'll see on the back end. But guys, okay. Please share, hit the like button. Thank you, Dodge J. Of course, you could send Judge Joe Brown a super chat, $ Judge Joe Brown 2023. That's $ Judge Joe Brown 2023. And I pinned my super chat in the love room, i.e. the chat room as well. Or you could send in a super chat or Cash App. Cash App. Or you could send in a super chat. So donate. I know it's a holiday season and people are penny pinching. Yes. I don't know where this country is headed, honey, but I'm not going to sit up here and live in fear. So the judge is logging on. It takes him a minute because he has snail Wi-Fi and it's Thursday. And hi everybody on Twitter. Everybody is live on. People can see us live on Twitter. So hello to the people on Twitter and to everyone here on YouTube. Let's see. Salute to my family from Mobile, Alabama. Hi, salute. Yeah. So what else do I have on the list? Oh, we have to talk about. So when after we talk about the YSL case, I want to talk about Fulton County Jail investing $1.7 billion. Justice for the Fulton County Jail, not the cop city that they're building in Atlanta. And we're going to talk about the cop city as well. So all this funding and money going into the prison systems. I think they were building new prisons in Alabama too. But you do know there's a lot of private contractors, private businesses getting contracts, part of this county and cop city infrastructure. So yeah, so we have to talk about that. So are we headed back to a police nation? And who are going to be the bodies filling up these prisons? Are they going to be black bodies again? How about you start putting some of the illegal migrants in those prisons? Because you know they're breaking a lot of laws and crimes, right? But what bodies are they going to put in these brand new prisons, you know? And this cop city, you know, what are the law enforcement's what is going to be their occupation? Who are they going to be arrested? Now, I did hear the crime in Atlanta is high as hell. It is. So I don't know. Maybe it's needed because everybody from up north have been going down south, particularly in the Atlanta area, tearing everything up. But getting back to the First Amendment and the YSL rap lyrics. So the judge approves rap lyrics as evidence in the case. And this is a state RICO case. And what is his name? Young Thug. Yeah, he's gonna go to prison. He is. And another person just pleaded guilty. I am going to play that clip. And I read the comments under these videos, and somebody put in the comment section, this is why they dragged out this case. The trial didn't start yet. The trial is actually going to start November 23rd or 26th. 23rd or 26th. So they already selected the jury and everything. And they were locked up beginning of May in 2022. So it's been over a year, right? And they drag it out so that those young black guys sitting in the prisons can get tired of sitting in prison and want to plea so that they could go home. So it's a method to it. It's a method to these prosecutors' madness. But I want to kind of go to drill music because if you guys remember Jay-Z, I think Jay-Z either was in Atlanta or New York, but he was speaking to politicians. I believe it was in New York, speaking to the mayor of New York. And the mayor of New York did sit down with a lot of drill rappers to kind of like not ban, but pass some type of policy to where you can't use rap lyrics as evidence in the court. And the problem, and I understand that because you want to protect the First Amendment. And a lot of things people say in the music industry in these songs are not true. It's made up. But when it comes to drill music, it is known and documented that a lot of those rappers are talking about crimes that they committed towards somebody else or group, or what they are plan on doing, because a lot of drill rappers who have put out music have ended up being killed because their enemies is like, oh, you taking shots at me? Well, then I'm coming for you. So drill music specifically have been violent off of the records into the streets. And sometimes if you could prove that a lyric is evidence to a particular case, then maybe it should be used. But then can somebody use something that I said and try to say, well, that's what you meant? Me personally, stop using musical lyrics as criminal evidence. That's my take. Hi, Judge.
Hi there.
Thank you, Gina. And thank you, Rachel. Everyone donate $2. Need to keep the show going. Yeah, so at least $5.
On that question, it can be used for evidence, depends upon what you're using it for. Is relevant and material. If it is, yes, it certainly is. It's a recordation of a state of mind. It's a recordation possibly of formulation of intent. It's also stupidity and ignorance to tell on yourself like that. It started developing that. How did you discover the whereabouts of the defendant? He was on Facebook bragging about what he did and where he'd put the money. Or how did you have him come to your attention? Well, what he was saying and posting allowed us to find what we needed to establish probable cause. Okay, why did he do it? Well, he had been posting that he had been doing X, Y, and Z, so this is consistent with X, Y, and Z. It goes to identification, particularly where who did it. Well, how do you establish the identity of the perpetrator? Here's what he said that can be used as part of the evidence to establish the identity of someone. It has to be given context. You have to have a foundation, material and relevant to the issue it's offered to prove.
All right, let me set this up with this story, with this particular case. So we're talking about YSL, and I kind of let me just bring it a quick up to speed. So Young Thug was arrested last year in May of 2022 at his home on suspicion of gang involvement and conspiracy to violate Georgia criminal racketeering law, i.e. RICO, alongside 27 other associates of the Young Slime Life, which officials are categorizing as a criminal street gang with ties to the Bloods. Now, Young Thug, whose real name is Jeffrey Williams, has been named in 56-count grand jury indictment, which accuses some of its members of alleged violent crimes, including attempted murder, aggravated assault with deadly weapon, armed robbery, and other alleged offense dating back to 13 years ago. And there have been some of his some of the people that was arrested with him. Some of them have been released. One of the notable ones were rapper Gunna, and I believe it was 10 or 12 other people. And just this week, it was somebody else. He pleaded guilty. However, what came out today, which was breaking news, the judge will allow the rap lyrics to be played as evidence, prosecutorial evidence in this case. And the case is going to begin towards the end of this month. And
well, let me break this down for you very quickly. Remember, God.
Clip.
Go ahead. Yeah, well, whatever the clip is, here's what the deal is about. Remember John Gotti, the Teflon Don that they never could pin a conviction on until they finally got him and he died in custody in 2002. What they got him on is once they got a warrant to conduct legal surveillance, what happened is they caught him bragging, and they recorded him bragging. And part of their case in chief was his braggadocious representations of things that had been occurring in organized crime episodes. So in this case, they didn't need to get a warrant. He's publishing it. It's like if John Gotti had been bragging, recorded what he was bragging about himself, and then started playing it on the radio. Same thing. So in this case, he was publicizing what most folk alleged to have committed organized crime would try to keep quiet, or at least amongst themselves, rather than publishing it to the public. So if it's offered for the same purposes that the government used what they got from surveillance, auditory surveillance of what they found to be John Gotti's headquarters, which was upstairs next door in an apartment building next to this nightclub that he operated, so, or was connected with. So it's the same kind of thing if that's what they're going to try to introduce the stuff for. So it's nothing unique. It's just stuck on stupid.
All right, let me play this clip. Let me play the clip.
Yeah, go ahead. Stuck on
First,
stupid.
tonight at 5, we now know rap lyrics will be used in the gang and racketeering trial against Atlanta rapper Young Thug and 5 co-defendants. Good evening, and thanks for being with us. I'm Jennifer Bellamy.
And I'm Faith Jesse. So the judge deciding the songs are relevant to determine gang affiliation. 11 Alive's Bobeth Yates was in court, and she has new details tonight.
That's right. After nearly 9 hours of discussion on whether rap lyrics should be included, Judge Ural Granville ruled that many of the rap songs are not protected under the First Amendment and are admissible.
This particular gang lyrics or evidence is admissible for several reasons.
Judge Ural Granville says he will allow the use of rap lyrics as part of the evidence in the RICO case against Jeffrey Williams, also known as rapper Young Thug, and his other 5 co-defendants.
I done did the robbing, I done did the jacking, now I'm full rapping.
That was rapper Young Thug performing his song Just How It Is, and the words you just heard are among the 17 sets of lyrics from songs he as well as the other co-defendants performed that will be included as part of the evidence in this case.
I don't care about no cop, I'm telling you just how it is.
Some of the other lyrics include I shot his mommy, now he no longer mentions me, and I never killed anybody, but I got something to do with that body. I told them to shoot 100 rounds. In that lyric, Young Thug goes on to rap, I'm a general, which the state believes proves YSL is a gang and that Young Thug is its leader. But the defendants say Young Slime Life is a rap label and the lyrics are just an expression of art and is protected.
The First Amendment protects an individual's right to speak his mind, regardless of whether the government considers his speech sensible, as well as intended or deeply misguided.
The defense also argued the use
By
of
the way,
lyrics
that's a
is racist
specious
and
argument.
discriminatory and will unfairly poison the jury against the defendants. But the court disagreed.
That rap lyrics are relevant. Terms and or symbols or signs may be appropriate and relevant, giving meaning to gang determination.
Today's hearing also included the certification of many of the expert witnesses that will be testifying during the trial. Sending it back to you.
A lot of people
See,
have
nobody
thoughts about this
said
case.
what.
You can read
Nobody
more about
said.
the judge's ruling made today. And
Nobody said anything about them being unlawful. What they're using it for is just what I said, for purposes of establishing identification. What's he saying in here? And when you hear other recordations that would probably be coming into the record dealing with RICO that they'd gotten when people were making discussions amongst themselves and making certain references, this would explain what the references are referring to.
So,
It's not illegal for him to say it. That's a specious argument by defense counsel because nobody says they're violating his first. Nobody's trying to violate his First Amendment rights. He can say it. The problem is he exercised them. I say it all the time.
wait, but they haven't proved that.
No, here's what the deal is. In him, they can easily prove that. Who is it? Look, you know. But you see, the deal is, as I say it all the time, you may have a right to do something, but it doesn't mean that you should. Like we had for a while an unsolved street gang situation, a drive-by, where some people, 5 people got killed and 4 more got shot. It wound up in front of me. So it was unsolved until these stupid idiots gave everybody a clue, because it got mentioned again in the local newspaper that it was unsolved, and they described the crime. And these idiots went to Kinko and got 500 copies of the article, and they autographed them on the back and on the front, saying it was us that did it. And they all signed off. So that kind of gave everybody an indication as to who might be involved, and it gave clues that led to more solid evidence.
So here's a question though. Outside of the rap lyrics, they don't have any other evidence.
That's not what it's being used for. They're not trying to convict him for describing acts. They're not even trying to convict him for advocating. It's just that the lyrics in the acts refer to specific events they are alleging. And because he's using the exact same language in his rap song, before it turns up, they have recordings of the words being used to refer to certain crimes that the individuals are charged with independently in the course of their criminal conspiracy.
But they would still have to prove those crimes.
Yeah, they still have to prove the crimes. They can prove the crimes, but the issue is who did it. So if you are putting out the lyrics because you're entertaining and you're a big mouth like Gotti was, bragging about what he had done, you know, it's kind of like, we can prove that these homicides or these crimes occurred. It's a question of who did it.
Well, that's just like Bob Marley saying, I shot the sheriff, but I didn't.
No, but that was from a movie. And I don't understand.
I'm talking about Bob Marley, the singer, his song.
No, I know, but that was from a movie in 1956. I saw the movie.
Oh, that he was referencing.
Yeah, he was referencing a Hollywood movie. I saw it.
Oh, okay. But but that's what I'm saying. So it's like now you get to pick and choose just to help prove.
It was Liberty Valance, by the way.
Evidence.
The movie was called Liberty Valance.
And that's why I don't want to get into that.
I know I'm not, but you see, the problem is they were hanging him for a crime he didn't commit in the movie, but he was committing another crime. I shot the sheriff, but I did not shoot the deputy. They were trying him in the movie for killing the deputy. Now, why? And this is one thing, just a comment. I don't understand why Bob Marley made that song that's straight out of the plot line for a 1956 black and white cowboy movie. But then Buffalo Soldier.
Right. He was talking about the revolution with black people and the struggle of
But that wasn't black folk. There wasn't a black man in that.
It doesn't matter. It was a metaphor. So, and that's the point. Wait, let's get off Bob Marley. My point is, a lot of these rap lyrics are metaphoric.
Yeah, except when you start, okay, what does it mean when you hear the following? If you hear the people in this recording describing what we allege to be a crime that actually occurred, what do they mean when they say this? Okay, his rap lyrics are probably
let me read a couple of his rap lyrics.
Context.
Let me read a couple of his rap lyrics. So one says, okay, hey,
yeah,
this, let me read it. Hey, this, that slim is S shit. Hey, YSL, I guess shit. Hey, killing 12, shoot. Hey, F gel, shit. Hey, cooking white brick. That means cooking coke or crack.
Rob.
I'm not new to this. Hey, I'm so true to this. Hey, I don't put whole slime on hundred licks. Slim or get slime or get slimed. And then it's another one that says, you better.
Yeah, in other words, what that.
Let me finish. Stop. You better watch the way you breathe around me, for that breath be your last, boy. / Smith and Wesson 45 put a hole in his heart. Better not play with me. Killers, they stay with me. I shot at his mommy. Now he no longer mentioned me. I had on Margalis something when I shot at the cunt. Act like you want war and they gonna smoke you like a blunt.
Probably some dumbass was sitting there bragging about the fact that somebody was talking shit, so they shot at his mom. Now he shut up. Translation: they've been making crack, and he ain't gonna stop. And when they start talking about what's that, the 100, I give the orders. I'm the general. In other words, he's putting himself in the position of being part of the leadership that's running the.
Now, let's just say this for a second. Let's just say this. What if, okay, so take the lyric part when he said, I shot his mom and he no longer mentions me.
Shot at his mom.
So if that's part of what he's being charged in, like that.
Yeah, in other words, see, what they're charging him is RICO, organized crime. In other words, it's income being derived from criminal activity. In other words, it's not somebody walks down the street and holds up a store. They're talking about somebody.
I'm saying, listen. I'm saying when you using the lyrics, are they using the lyrics for
the difference? I'm trying to tell you the difference between a RICO prosecution and an ordinary one. If you were just talking about ordinary somebody robbed the liquor store, probably you'd have a hard time using it unless in the rap song he specifically admitted to robbing that liquor store or tried to claim credit to it. When you have a RICO thing, you're talking essentially about a conspiracy. A conspiracy is viewed as so dangerous to the public that they relax the rules of evidence. And what winds up happening is those things such as this become admissible to show that people are engaged in the business of crime, not just had committed a crime. In other words, you might work at a factory, or you might be living off your mama's welfare check, and you just decide to conduct a robbery. But when you have RICO, what you're saying is your ordinary day-to-day business when you go to work has got to do with crime. That's your job.
Right. So it's not one particular incident. It's just several saying you have you do multiple crimes under your organization.
Yeah, and RICO, you prove
help me. I get it. Now bringing the lyrics, you're using the lyrics for the whole organization.
The whole organization.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't like that.
But you see, the point is if you get caught up in RICO, it's really a form of conspiracy. See, in other words, a conspiracy is so dangerous that you can feloniously conspire to do a totally legal act in a totally legal fashion. But the conspiracy becomes felonious, even if the conspiracy is to do legal acts in a legal fashion.
Give me 1 second. Sorry about that. I had to close the vent because my father has the heat on, honey.
Yeah, in other words, organized crime is what it is.
All right, so listen. Okay, so if I say something like, let's say here on the podcast, or no, let's just say me and you make an album or we make a song and I say something, right? Let's say I say something about prostitution and it just so happened I may be with someone who gets arrested, like say we're in the same car and that person is part of something, then I'm attached to that. So they could go and use a song that me and you made for a case that's about prostitution, but because I made a song about prostitution.
Okay, let me give it to
you. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, but let me give you an explanation. Now, everything that I say is just taking off of the allegations, and people are presumed innocent until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. Today in New York, they returned indictments against a number of people alleged to be in the Gambino family. All right.
They did
That's
for real today?
that's John Gotti's organization. So they alleged in the indictments, the RICO indictments, that they had been using extortion, aggravated assault, other forms of racketeering, murder, and such like, to control unions and also control certain service industries. So if somebody came up that was part of that organization that was alleged to be running the organization and was rapping about slang for controlling the service industry and, you know, how they broke somebody's arm and so on, so on and so forth. See, you see how they could be admissible to that point?
Okay, so that's not messing with the First Amendment.
No, it's not. I said it's a specious argument by defense.
Okay.
See, in other words, he's throwing it out there because it just sounds good until you put it in context. And nobody said we're trying to restrict somebody's First Amendment rights. It's just there is a RICO indictment. And when you put the rap lyrics into the context of what's being alleged in the RICO indictment, it makes it make sense. Like, in other words, they're admitting, and this guy's admitting that he's in charge, at least in part, and we're trying to prove that he was part of the leadership. How do you become the leadership? You either make your bones and you show that you're wise, or you buy your way into a street gang. And rappers for street cred allegedly buy their way into street gangs because they've got the money to do the buy-in on. So they're alleging he bought in. This is associated with the Bloods, which is a national organization. So what that is organized. They've got a structure. They've got offices and various chapters around the nation, allegedly. So when he does this, they're going to try to prove that he bought in, and because of what he was doing, he got to participate in the leadership of a family, so to speak, that was involved in this.
A couple
That's
more
what they're probably going to prove when they go RICO on somebody.
A couple more things on this, but I just want to go through them quickly. Should the record
Rule up, shut your mouth, and don't tell on yourself.
But should the record label be held responsible because his record label was funded by the main record label?
No, it is not holding the record label responsible for anything. That's the specious part. That's not what they're saying. They're just saying the record label would only be responsible in this if, in fact, a portion that could be proved of its income was derived from organized crime activity. By the way, that's what I was
Wait, explain that, because
in other words, what they usually do when you have a RICO operation is if the guy's got 5 cars, they would be showing that he got the 5 cars from money he acquired through organized crime. So they would seek to seize the 5 cars. If he had a mansion, multi-million-dollar mansion, and he had no other obvious income but organized crime, even if he had laundered the money so the taxes could be paid, what winds up happening is they go after the mansion. By the way,
no, so equate that with the record label then.
Well, I am Barack Obama. Barack Obama and his wife for $1 acquired an estate worth tens of millions of dollars that belonged to one of the people that Obama represented, who surrendered himself on an organized crime RICO indictment. Obama was mentioned by name in 7 counts of that indictment as a co-actor who was unindicted. And they claimed they got this property that they proved in the case was the result of organized crime. And this is the first time I've ever seen it in 50 years of practice in law. Nobody went after it. They let the Obamas keep this property they got for $1. So
the record label
Yeah, the record label. That's what they're doing. The
No,
record
I'm
label,
asking you what. So the
the
record
record
label
label would be the Obamas, where the record label got advantage of some stuff that accrued through organized crime. If they're going after the record label.
But why
But
they're not? Fannie is not. Why not? Why not?
well, the why not is it may have nothing to do with it, because it may be that the rap artist in question just worked for them or had a contractual agreement with them where they got the money legit.
This is the thing with the record labels, because his record label was funded by a major record label. So when he got signed to be a rap artist, right, he put out a couple of albums, he was signed to a record label. You put out a couple of albums and you're able to kind of start your own record label within the major record label because they're the ones funding it.
I got it. But you see, here's what I'm talking
about. Be connected in that RICO conspiracy.
The way it usually works, and I'm not saying it's the case here, this would be speculation. But the way it would be working, if they were trying to prove RICO, what they would say is he was a legitimate rap star. Okay. He worked through this label. He wound up having his own label that was affiliated with this legit label. And through the label, he was able to acquire the means to buy into the gang instead of earning his way into the gang. And that would be how he got in. Now, in the process of doing
money.
By the money that he got, but that wouldn't be subjecting the rap.
Why wouldn't it? That's what he got his money.
No, it's not, because the money came from that organization. The organization wasn't paid for as the fruit of a crime.
Slow down. Because YSL, Young Slime, whatever, all those people were his artists under his label.
Yeah. Now
his label was funded by the major label. So again, if he was buying, I don't know if he bought his way in, if he is a blood, but if he bought his way in with money, or a lot of times you got to do work to be put in. But if he bought his way in with money, his money came from the music industry.
Yeah, but that's not where they go.
Direct connection.
That's not what they're not trying to seize. They didn't serve an attachment on the record labels.
You hired somebody, right, to make money for you who was involved in criminal activity.
And not just hire somebody, but what happens is you become one of the controlling interests in the entities in the organized crime business. I'll give you an example. I had an interest that I had to bail on when I found out that several of the people in this recording studio I invested in about 25 years ago one of them was a hitman, allegedly, and the others were doing certain other things. So I said, I don't need to be involved with a business enterprise, legal or otherwise, where there's some people doing some questionable stuff like that. See, I didn't know until I got into it, and then I bailed on it after a few months. I said, whoa, this had potential, but or like I had a friend, he's dead now. He was a tenured college professor at Cal State LA. He was a hitman for the mythical organizations. He was a black man that other folk wouldn't suspect being the one to come up and machine gun him. So that's what he did. But he was a tenured professor. So can you go after the State University at Los Angeles, or known as Cal State LA, because they employed a professor who turned out to be a hitman? They had another tenured professor on the staff that way back in the late 60s hijacked an airplane and took it to Cuba after pulling off a bank robbery. So it turned out to be part of organized crime, but they couldn't get him because he was in Cuba. So you're going to go after the state college system because one of its employees was engaged in organized crime activity, which, by the way, was before they invented the RICO statutes.
Right.
But that's what we're talking about here.
Okay.
In this case, the record label would be equivalent to the university in question that had these two tenured professors who were serious crooks. All right.
I want to play this because this is the judge reprimanding the prosecutors. I was tickled by this. And by the way,
it's the same prosecutor is involved with Trump. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, well, it's other lawyers, but she's in charge of it.
Yeah, that they work for her. She's boss.
Right. So he's not yelling at her. She's not there.
Yeah, he's yelling at her. In other words, yes, he
is.
is.
Yeah, he's yelling at her office.
And she's the office.
Right. But you sitting up here making her case for her, saying it's okay for them to use.
No. I would have ruled the exact same way. So if you get on him, you'd be getting on me. I'd say it's admissible.
Yeah, but that's still in favor of the prosecutor,
that's all right. Sometimes they get it right. You don't always see. Look, you're neutral. So what happens is you may be from Los Angeles, and the Lakers are playing the Celtics. But just because you are from LA, if there's a foul against the Celtics, you aren't supposed to overlook it just because your home team committed it.
All right.
You see what I'm saying?
Let me play this clip.
Really, I'm really annoyed about this. I just am. This is ridiculous. Your witness list has grown by 2/3 since then. And I don't know why. You better have a dang good explanation on the 16th, because if you don't, I'm going to exclude it. Okay. But right now, I'm telling you, without anything further, it's gone.
Well, we would like
to include a lot more on that date, because this is ridiculous. There is no plausible explanation I've gotten and that would suffice, that we just kind of keep, well, you keep dripping and driving out evidence.
Well, we'll be asked to be heard on the 16th, Your Honor, and we'll have all the explanations for the court.
I'm telling you, it better be a good explanation. And if it's not, I'm going to exclude it. I'm just going to.
See, you know what the judge is doing? He's being scrupulously neutral because he might rule ultimately largely in favor of the defense. Sometimes when you got a ball game going, it ain't always the visiting team that commits all the fouls or gets all the penalties during the game.
Who is that in the back? There's too much noise.
Yeah, well.
So, but this is the thing, though. So, okay, so just because he's allowing the lyrics in as evidence doesn't necessarily mean that the prosecutors are going to win.
Yeah, and then there's another thing too. See, when you have a case like this, there's going to be scrutiny. So dot all the I's and cross all the T's. There's another thing a lot of the naive folk don't get. As a judge, you may be listening to it, and you may be sympathetic to what the defendant is alleging or his point, but you overrule it. Here's why. Your Honor, so-and-so, the defense moves to exclude or dismiss or declare mistrial. You say, okay, right now, technically, we could do that, but I'm going to do the defense a favor. I'm going to let him see if he can get a not guilty verdict. And if he does, that's the end of it. If he gets a guilty verdict, then the court can still grant the motion and say on reconsideration, it was well taken. In that case, there would be an appeal of the court's ruling and everything else, and the matter is not over. So what you can do, if you are an experienced trial judge, and that trial judge has also been an experienced trial lawyer, you can say the best thing is to get a not guilty verdict and end it, even though at this point I could rule in favor of the defense. But if I do, there's going to be a long appellate process on it. So it might lengthen it out a week or two extra. So there's no point in not going. I like this judge because he's doing something a lot of them don't have balls to do. Under American law, for the states, but not when it comes to the feds, thanks to the idiot in the White House now, Joe Biden, and Eastland and Byrd back in the late 70s when they introduced changes to federal criminal procedure. The state has to let the defense know all of the witnesses they're going to call, how to get in touch with them, and not only all of the witnesses that they know they're going to call, but the ones that through the exercise of due diligence, they should have been aware of. and they have an affirmative duty to give that to the defense. So what's going on here is the defense is complaining because the prosecution keeps adding more witnesses that they should have had. And what I told you earlier when we were talking about it, prosecutors tend to be some lazy son of a bitches. They rely on the police department. A lot of times the police department is not smart enough to get the big picture. And they're relying on the DA's office that has these trained lawyers that are supposed to see the big picture, putting it together. And the big picture people are just as out of it as somebody that may just be looking at the knotholes in the pine tree instead of at the whole forest.
Right.
So that's what happens. In other words, the favorite stunt of the prosecutors is never going to visit the scene of the crime. They rely on the police reports, and the police report says something like the defendant in this homicide took 2 steps from the jukebox and shot the victim. Now, the scene reveals that the jukebox hasn't been moved in 15 years. You can see the outline in the dents in the linoleum. And when you measure it off, it's 155 feet from where the jukebox is to where the shooting occurred, because you can see the bullet holes going down in an angle into the floor after they penetrated the victim's body. So unless you have Superman, he's not taking 2 steps from the jukebox to the scene of the shooting 150 feet away. And if the idiots had gone out there and looked at it and taken pictures of it, they would know it. But they're lazy. They sit in their office. They're anxious looking at the watches for the clock to tick around, and they don't want to have to stay after and miss their tea time or whatever in the hell they're doing. And they don't go look. So defense goes out there or sends a private investigator out. He takes pictures of the scene. He gets detailed statements from everybody. He gets the measurements. And when it comes into trial, you say 2 steps. You're sure about that? Okay, now, sir, do you recognize this? Blah, blah, blah. That's the interior of the club. And what is this? This is the jukebox. And does that look familiar to you? Yes, sir, it does. Is that the same jukebox you observed when you arrived on the scene? Well, yes, sir, it is. And why are we looking at this? Is that not, in fact, sir, where the victim was shot? The alleged victim? Well, yes, sir, it is. And what are these that we're looking at the rod sticking out of? Well, that looks like they'd be bullet holes. And we have these holes angled down at what we're looking at. Does that represent the likely trajectory, sir? See, it's cross-examination, so you can lead. Yes, sir, it does. And would that not indicate from what you're looking at in these pictures that whoever shot this man was standing pretty close over him? Well, Your Honor, the item speaks for itself. This is the state's exhibit we're looking at right now. And we would like to introduce defendant's exhibit number, I believe, Your Honor, it's number 117. Let's, with the court's permission, if we could have that marked as a collective exhibit 117, A through F. Your Honor, if I might have this passed up, yes, and you get it up, you get it in the record so they can look at this. 2 steps from right here, 152 feet away. 1, 2, 75. What is it?
I have no idea what you're talking about. Can we move on?
Well, I'm being entertaining. See, I'm trying to illustrate.
Yeah,
it.
that was boring.
The dummies sitting in the back they get it. It's not boring. That's what you get when you're in a courtroom. And all of the folk talking
That's
about.
why I make sure I stay out of it.
Yeah, well, all of the folk talking about justice is just us. Quit trying to get out of jury duty. So this is what it's like when you're sitting there on one.
No, every time I used to get the letter and I would go, they would make me waste my day just not to pick me. So
I mean, it may be, but you have to make them do that.
And they used to give you a full stipend, and they stopped.
Yeah, but that's because we don't insist. But all I'm talking about is.
Well, I want to play this clip because this is.
I know, but see, here's the other thing. We caught up in speculation. We don't know all of the evidence, but what the judges ruled so far, I probably would too. And I like him getting on the prosecution. That shows a fair judge.
Mm-hmm. All right.
See, by the way, Kamala Harris has a reputation in California for having judges that never got on her for doing that kind of stuff because they thought she was cute wearing these little short
All
skirts
right,
up.
I'm not getting into her. All right, let's just play.
Fulton County
Well, I
Courthouse
mean,
this
it has
afternoon, the young
relevance to everything we're hearing about
RICO
today.
case centered around Atlanta rapper Young Thug. One of the defendants had a change of heart and pleaded guilty today. Good afternoon, and thanks so much for watching Fox 5 News at 4. I'm Christine Spiro. Now, this deal came less than 48 hours after a jury got seated after a 10-month process. Fox 5's Tyler Fingert was the only TV reporter in the courtroom this afternoon. He is live at the Fulton County Courthouse with these developments, Tyler.
Yeah, Christine, good afternoon to you. It was a surprising change of plea for 23-year-old Durante Beebe. His guilty plea leaves just 6 defendants left, including Young Thug, for the YSL RICO case that officially goes to trial next month or later this month.
And this guilty plea freely and voluntarily means your own decision to enter a plea this afternoon. Yes. Okay.
With that, 23-year-old Durante Beebe is heading to prison just 2 days after jury selection wrapped up in the Young Slime Life RICO case centered around Atlanta rapper Young Thug. Beebe took a plea deal Friday afternoon to avoid trial.
It took a lot, so it's right down to the wire. We've worked very hard on this.
Beebe pleaded guilty to multiple charges, including conspiracy to violate Georgia's RICO Act. He was sentenced to 15 years. He'll serve 5 in prison and the rest on probation. Friday's deal comes nearly a year after he was offered a different one that would have kept him behind bars longer. Durante Partridge turned that one down and for months worked to get something better for his client.
15 serve 5 versus the opportunity to serve life plus in prison, we moved definitely in the right direction.
As part of the plea agreement, he could be forced to testify during the YSL trial, but his attorney says prosecutors told him they wouldn't do that. After accepting his plea, Superior Court Judge Earl Glanville lectured Beebe that it's time to turn over a new leaf.
You're 23 years old. You've had enough trial in your life at this point in time. Would you agree? Yes. Time to have a little testimony. Time to reclaim your own life.
Partridge says Beebe has taken responsibility for what he's done and says his client plans to follow the judge's advice.
This is an opportunity for a second chance. When he was younger, made some mistakes, which led him to be a convicted felon. Now he's 23, right? He's still young, still has an opportunity to turn it around.
Tell you something I don't like. I don't like that they're permitted to address the court sitting down. And I don't like the fact that they're not saying, sir. The judge isn't saying it to the defendants, and the defendant's not saying it to the court. So that's unacceptable.
Real quick, let me just acknowledge, thank you, Rachel. Not boring. I watched the whole Amber Heard. Yeah, we all watched it, but that was kind of boring too. But the fact is that what I'm saying is I've mentioned this before, and I did mention this to the judge on and off the air. He will no longer be telling multiple stories or long stories because y'all don't support financially. He will go into details and give a whole bunch of examples and all that free knowledge when we go live on the website, which would be subscription based. So I have to keep reminding the judge that because he will give you a lot of free legal knowledge, but y'all don't deserve it because you don't support. And no, we're not. And then too, I'm trying to keep the show under 2 hours. So to me, it's boring, but that's me. And everybody can have their own opinion. But yes,
and when we switch over, you might hear stories about Dracula.
Yes, but that's then
Vlad the Impaler, Vlad Dracul the Impaler.
So real quick,
involvement with.
Right. I need to.
I'm not gonna tell it, but I mean,
I just need to move
movies for this.
So Beebe, he got a good deal because basically,
5 years, 10 years probation ain't bad compared to doing life.
Wait. He's going to be walking out that jail soon because a lot of that they'll put in the 5 years as time served.
No, here's what it is too.
He did say that.
No, wait a minute.
2 years of that.
No, hold on. It's not just time served. It's also 2-for-1 credit sometimes due to crowding. Somebody I'm aware of, they worked out a deal where they played out the 5 years with 4.5 years. Well, 5 years, 4.5 years suspended, 5 years probation. They got the 6 months credit by sitting on a bench outside the jail in question for 6.5 hours, and that was the credit for the 6 months.
And I just told you about the story, honey.
Yeah, so in other words, what may happen, he might walk out of there in 2 or 3 weeks or a month.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And hold on for a second. I am with the shits tonight. I'm just on that type of time. And you know why? Let me make this a little bit bigger, because of the fact is that no, you dusty. I don't know if you're black. If you are a nigga. If you're white, you're a wig. I don't care. But you are dusty. Aside for the people that donated, because Rachel was donating, people that did send me cash apps. It's not the fact that you guys don't deserve it. It's the fact that knowledge is not free. People appreciate stuff more when they're paying for it. That's why we're going to subscription base. So nobody disrespected. YouTube broke. You never donated.
Okay.
So shut the
Dana,
hell up.
be gentle.
I am gentle because I didn't say not one curse word. So I was gentle.
You just got your due done anyway.
Yes, I did. Huh? You like my color?
Yeah, it looks nice.
I know. All right. So I want to go to something else, right? Just real quick. Fulton County Board of Commissions approved plans to find the funding for a new $1.7 billion facility to replace the Fulton County Jail. The new facility is planned to have 4,500 bed capacity. Who they gonna put in all these beds? So they got the green light, honey.
Well, see, what they're going to do is they're probably going to have police headquarters there. Most of the departments are going to be centered there. They may have a shooting range, a training facility, and it's all together. The advantage is the person who's in charge, the chief or the director or the commissioner, won't have to get in a squad car or send a subordinate out for a 45-minute or an hour drive in Atlanta traffic to get to one of the out facilities. He can get on the elevator, go down and eyeball whoever he needs to deal with and get on some ass right there. Not Atlanta style getting on ass, but you know, I mean,
well, okay.
Old phrase, new meaning.
Something else is happening too. 57 Cop City protesters arraigned on racketeering charges. So nearly 6 people indicted on racketeering charges related to protests against a planned police and firefighter training facility near Atlanta appeared in court Monday. So the protesters, the protests against the proposed training center dubbed Cop City by opponents have been going on for more than 2 years. But I didn't want to read about the protests. I wanted to read
Well,
about
they jumped folk in January 6th. They fit the precedent. Let's go after the other folk on the other side.
Yeah, so Cop City, Atlanta Public Safety Training Center, commonly known as Cop City, is a police and fire services training campus under construction in the South River Forest area of DeKalb County near Atlanta, Georgia. Much of the land included in the plans was formerly part of the old Atlanta prison farm, which was abandoned in 1995. In 2021, the location was identified by the city of Atlanta as the only suitable location to build a training center.
Yeah, it sounds like a good deal to me. I mean, look at all the crime going on in the streets. I mean, somebody, how much is your life and your liberty and your peace of mind and public peace, dignity, and order worth to you? That has got a lot of pretty.
But this is what I'm saying, though. But this is what I'm saying, because it's a lot of money going into. It's a lot of money going into prisons and police training.
That's not a prison.
Well, no, I'm talking about. I said prisons and police training.
Yeah. Well, what are all these?
I mean, finish, because Fulton County, they're redoing their prison, $1.7 billion, and then you have Cop City training the firefighters and police officers. So my point is, there's a lot going into law enforcement, but not a lot going into prevention. And their solution is law enforcement, right? I get it. But who are going to fill up the 4,500 beds? Is it going
you need to see how many of the beds are going to be for the recruits and the people.
No, I'm talking about the Fulton prison. That's 4,500 beds.
Okay. Well, we built ours here. It's called the Criminal Justice Center. in Memphis, Shelby County, Tennessee, but we built that. It was finished up basically at the end of 1980. It would probably cost that now, but it's not.
No. I want to know, is it going to be black bodies, more black bodies?
Well, it doesn't have to be if black folk would stop clowning out in the streets.
How about you start locking up the illegal migrants?
Well, that too, but you need extra space. We only have 2,800 beds in our facility, and that was constructed 40 years ago, for more than 40 years ago. Probably 5,000 would be more realistic now. So they only have 4,500. I can see that. I mean, and if you want to stop getting black folk in the jail, stop having all of the black on black crime. That stop. These folk aren't playing Robin Hood.
But
they're robbing the hood.
But what's a remedy for lowering crime? Job, employment.
Yeah, it would be. But Atlanta pays more attention to boys being girls and stuff like that than they do to these practicalities. I mean, look at what they do. Does anybody find one of these damn blue cities where practicality like getting jobs for the youth, vocational training, STEM training, or education, or basic fundamental education? No, hell no, that's not what they're into. And then you have Cobb County that goes into Atlanta. That's one of the most corrupt places going. Their justice system is the pits. Their whole court system needs to be looked at by the feds. But nobody pays attention to these things there. There's real criminality going on. A lot of it's white collar and a lot of it's official, and some of it has on the bat cape, sitting on a bench.
Mm.
So maybe somebody needs to do something about that. But of course, these things don't happen because the prosecutor for the area, she's trying to get more fame going, Mammy Fanny, trying to go after Mr. Trump.
Right.
And I'm not talking about her badly because I know her daddy. He was a close and personal friend of mine.
Okay. Well, 1 second. Thank you, because I want to move on to the FCC. Thank you for Rita James for the super chat. Thank you so much. And of course, Rachel again, and Gina. And let me just say this, all of my coins, there's no intelligence in calling people a nigger. Yes, it is a lot, because there are too many niggas out here. We need less of them. So when I see one, I call them by their name, because that's what they are.
Well,
it's intelligent to call somebody by their proper name. And if you're not one, I won't call you that.
Well, let me put it this way. There was a short period of time, when calling somebody that might get you shot. Not saying somebody wouldn't go to jail for it.
No, but I'm talking about the ones
that be dead. I know, but I don't.
When we look at the YSLs, when we look at the people that's going to be filling up that 4,500 beds,
then they need to stop committing criminal acts.
Right.
Go pay attention in school. And by the way, pay attention to who you let teach your schools. There's some horrible stuff going on in those schools.
Mm-hmm.
Some really horrible stuff. The girls are being taught it's okay to lie as long as the victim is a boy. They've been taught that they're as strong as boys, so it's okay to hit them. They've been taught that the boys are being castigated for standing up for manhood, and they're grooming these boys not only for sissyhood, but for failure all across the country. And you better be very careful. And I mean, some places, Florida seems to have it where they want to protect the children from these folk that would groom them. So you need to look, they are teaching these boys in school not to be in control, not to be self-contained, not to be rational and logical. They're teaching these boys in these schools to be out of control little emotional wrecks. And you've got these little vanilla cupcake liberal feminists, hyper liberal feminists, putting their poison, feminist poison, not female, but feminist poison in these boys' heads. And it's even kind of sitting there crazy. A lot of these young white girls that are teaching are also saying something's wrong with being white. So, I mean, it's like, wow.
Well,
so they're just spreading this hate thing all around. The white boys don't get anything. The black boys don't get anything. The brown boys, nobody wants to teach them how to hablar inglés. So, you know,
but this is another thing too.
the
Because
mess.
let me bring this into the fold, because they're also taking out, I know in Oregon school systems, they're redoing their grading systems. No more zeros. And if you cheat, you won't get a 0. And then if you if you don't read on if you're not reading on the proper reading level or math level, you could still graduate, because they're basically easing up on a grading system and a graduation.
I know it's insulting.
Yeah,
like Negroes are too stupid to learn. So let's
Right,
make.
it's really all students too. It's not just the black ones.
Yeah, I know, but it's really kind of it's that Montessori garbage. Let the children pick what they want to learn. And how the devil does a child know what he needs to learn because he's never experienced life to learn those things? And meanwhile, the teachers and the Board of Education who've been through these stages in life ought to be dictating what gets taught rather than the children picking it. Most ridiculous nonsense in hell.
So I want to also say this, guys, please hit the like button and please share this video, and hi everybody on Twitter. I was going to try it this week, but starting next week, Thursday, when we do the live man up, I'm going to do it on the other channel at The Real Judge Joe Brown. This channel doesn't like you anymore, Judge. They only like when you talk about pop culture, like celebrity stuff.
Bullshit.
Yes,
they like it.
They only like you when you talk about bullshit. So the other channel, you know, that's where I do the Twitter lives. When we do, the Twitter space, I air that live on the other channel. So I want to try this show on the other channel, because that's all you on the other channel. But we are going to subscription base, and that's by the end of this month. We will be subscription based, and that will be Judge Joe Brown After Dark. He will pre-record some stuff. He will go live, and
I didn't have to do Judge Joe Brown After Dark. That'll speak for itself. Just say Joe After Dark. Meanwhile, what's our dope foolishness for the evening?
Well, no. Well, really, the YSL. I may find some foolishness just for algorithm purposes. But speaking of social media, because I text you that document, I say, hey, can you please read it? I read some of it. I don't know if you read it, but let me share. Well, actually, let me share this, because remember, Supreme Court.
It was a 3-page thing you sent me.
Yes. So, but real quick, remember when the Supreme Court freezes order curbing Biden administration's social media contacts, but then they turned around. And justices allow federal government continue communication over social
All
media.
that meant was it just dissolved the stay pending more evidence coming in and more proceedings below. They didn't say that if the injunction was found to be in order on a permanent basis, they wouldn't sustain it.
Mm-hmm. All right. So now I like this show on YouTube. It's called Redacted. Love that show. Actually, I'm going to send you one of their lives one day. FCC Commissioner blasts Biden digitally equality plan as unlawful power grab. And this is the document that I sent you. Let me see if I
can. In other words, essentially what it's saying, that for the overwhelming majority of the last, 15 years, the Democrats for 12 of those years, 12, have controlled the FCC board, and they haven't done anything at all to take care of the business they needed to take care of. That's what they're saying. See,
So it says here,
unlike other,
let me just read this.
unlike, just a point of clarification. See, unlike, to make sense of this story, unlike, would say, the Attorney General's office, the incoming president does not get to appoint a whole slew of U.S. attorneys that he approves of. When a person gets in FCC as a commissioner, the term of the commissioner overlaps the presidential terms. So an incoming Republican president may find he's got a predominantly Democratic FCC board that he can't do anything about because his term's up before he gets to make an appointment. That's what the man's talking about. So he is one of the Republican appointees who's still on the FCC commission, and he's talking about his Democratic colleagues, how they have dropped the ball and not made the necessary reforms, and how the Biden administration is trying to make things worse. It's a warning.
Let me read this. It says President Biden's plan sweeps entire industries within the FCC's jurisdiction for the first time in the agency's 90-year history. It would be one thing if the FCC cabined its intrusive new regimen to ISPs or even businesses within the communications sector. It does not. The draft FCC order says that we are not explicitly tasked with regulating entities outside the communications industry, a rare moment of regulatory humility. But it then goes on to say that the FCC will do so in this case, nevertheless. Landlords are now covered, construction crews are now covered, marketing agencies are now covered, banks are now covered, the government itself is now covered, all newly regulated by the FCC and liable for any act or omission that the agency determines has an impermissible impact on a consumer's access to broadband. Congress never authorized the FCC to regulate these industries or entities. So to all the businesses and individuals that will be subject to FCC regulation for the first time ever, welcome. I hope you have good lawyers. And so
now, you know what, you may I make a translation very briefly as to what you're looking at? What are we having a problem with versus YouTube?
Yes.
Now, here's the conundrum. Do you want to leave it up to YouTube with nobody to intervene so they can continue their bullshit? Or, as Biden wants to do, take the theme of YouTube's suppression of the First Amendment,
but it seems,
but make it the general policy.
Right. And that's the thing. That's because they want a state-run internet. And so the thing is, wait 1 second. In the show Redacted, they're saying, because remember under the Obama administration with the net neutrality case, I think it didn't pass, but that's because it was the social media companies, Google and all of them, they took the government to court and won. So the social media technologies, the media companies, they have the money and the power to take them to court.
Yeah, all of that. But let's just break it down. Do you want the government's policy to reflect YouTube's policy?
No, but it is.
No, you don't.
I know we don't, but it seems like
listen. He's saying two things in this 3-page article.
Mm-hmm.
One, he's saying the Biden administration wants to give FCC has the authority, but he wants FCC to exercise the authority. And then he's criticizing them in conjunction with that and saying FCC, he doesn't say it directly, would be a government official acting like YouTube, which is poison. What this guy is saying is leave it to YouTube to do their poison privately. I'd offer another alternative. take control of FCC, so they cut out this bullshit that YouTube, etc. does. So you stop trying to suppress the First Amendment. But the problem is if the Biden administration does what they want to do with FCC, they will have FCC officially suppress the First Amendment. See, there are three things in there.
Mm-hmm.
The failure to use FCC to ensure First Amendment compliance, the fact that you don't turn it over to private enterprise, but the guy that writes this letter forgets what's going on realistically with private enterprise and YouTube, disregarding the impact of what they do on interstate communications. And then you have the discussion of what these idiots in the White House want done, which is to have an official federal participation in censorship, not of language, not of porn, not of obscenity, but an official government censorship of ideas.
But this
That's
is the thing.
That's fascism. That's
right,
Zeke.
but that's what I'm saying. I get it, but don't say that. But the thing
There
is,
you go. See,
I know, don't. But yes, that's we get that. I don't need for you to display it.
I know, but see, that's what this
And
guy's talking about. Biden wants to make FCC
right, but this
do
is
what YouTube does about this.
No. Because YouTube is following the Biden administration. You have I feel as though the FCC should allow the private sectors, private tech sectors, social media sectors to do what they want to do and create their own regulations and rules, because
we don't need that.
Let me finish.
Go ahead.
Because it's not just YouTube or Facebook or Twitter or Instagram. It's also the InfoWars, who has an independent website. They could also go after independent websites, something that I want to do, something that you look at InfoWars and the other independent websites. They could control them. That's part of the private sector.
But you don't want to do it the way this guy that writes the article's talking about, because he talks about, well, he doesn't directly address it, but what he wants to propose allows somebody who's got a lot of money, deep pockets, to buy InfoWars, to buy Dana, the real Dana, into a corner that they can't get out of. See, so that's the problem. You need a balance between government and free enterprise. You can't have one all the way, because it's too dangerously fascist. And you get the other one, you get laissez-faire capitalism that's too deep off into corruption and a whole bunch of other nasty things. So the situation is good.
But how do you get the balance? Because a lot of times now you have these private capitalists,
how do you get?
Wait, can I just finish saying?
Go ahead.
The reason I'm asking you how you get the balance, because you have the private companies, like a YouTube, which is really Google, like Facebook or whatever. A lot of times they are paying, and this has something to do with politicians, but I don't know why they're falling under the Biden administration. They're getting some type of favor. So how do you find that balance?
That's what you elect a decent.
Well, but this has nothing to do with Congress.
Yes, look.
FCC.
Look. You can vote on the chief. Well, you can vote on the people that will elect the chief executive, the president. In other words, you can vote on your congressman, whether in the House or in the Senate. There are three ways you can get at this: your board of electors, your senators, and your members of the House of Representatives. Those are three ways you can get at this. The House and the Senate pass laws that set up the rules. Get somebody in who understands that there's supposed to be a balance, not somebody who wants the boys to cut the dicks off and everybody swing a rainbow flag and wrap themselves in it. Get somebody out there who will be able to set up something that will see to it that you can't run InfoWars out of business. Fox might not be run out of business. It doesn't seem to be in danger. Or get some clown not to indict people because they say watch Newsmax. See, that's what you need to do to ensure control over those kind of things so it's neutral. Now, the Reagan administration got FCC out of the real neutrality. In other words, if somebody was running for office and you badmouth them, then he gets an opportunity to rebut that. But now you don't have to do it because this is another example of asking for something, getting it, and being very sorry that you got it. Be careful what you ask for. You just might get it. Now, that's one of the things you have to have a balance. So that means the people you elect who are responsible for setting up the government side of the thing, the governmental partnership with private enterprise, you make sure you put some wise, fair people in there, not somebody with an agenda, which is dick cutting and twat sewing and flag wrapping.
Lay off of that.
Why not? I'm not running for political office.
I don't
care.
Say
it anymore.
That I'm not trying to keep having that spew on right now. I'm just not trying to do all that.
Well, that's what you're talking about here.
I know that, and because again, until somebody do all that, what you just said, yeah, cut back on it because you keep saying it over and over again.
Well, I know. I'm
honestly,
kind of like that.
1 second, let me go into this because it's not so much of a YouTube policy. You have to also look at AI. Because it's not a human being catching these words. It's actually a machine.
Yeah, but it's not an AI machine.
Let me finish. Yes, it is. It's an AI.
No, that's not what artificial intelligence is.
They're using AI as part of the algorithm.
They're not using.
Let me finish.
Go ahead.
Because you don't know, I know. They're using AI to help with the algorithm to catch certain words because certain words are flagged, which is why over a month ago when I got the strike because you said one sentence, but it was 2 words in that sentence. It wasn't a human being, it was AI, and they cannot compute what you meant. They just hear the word.
That's why it's not AI.
It's not a human.
Yeah, but AI acts like a human. What you get is just ordinary computer algorithms.
They cannot comprehend what you
Hold on. Let me explain what AI is. It stands for artificial intelligence. In other words, it's not just an algorithm or a computer program. It is something that behaves as a human who can make the fine nuances and assessments. It is something that can have and develop its own political context. It is something you don't have to give instructions to. You can make requests of. There is a big difference.
Right, exactly. That's what I'm telling you.
Yeah, but it's not mimicking humanity.
God. Let me tell you something.
The AI doesn't act like
exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's not mimicking humanity. What I'm telling you is they are instructing AI to take.
That's not AI. Quit falling into that trap.
That's what it is.
Look. One of the principal objectives of propaganda is to get the target to use the propagandist terms. So when you use his terms, you're wrong. That's not what artificial intelligence is. So they have you.
I don't give. Okay, put it like this: for the sake of this conversation, whatever that this algorithm is using, it picks up words. That's why.
Yeah. Okay. Algorithms.
Say certain words. I'm not going to go back and forth with you with the term AI. What I'm telling you is they're using a certain thing, a monitor, when it comes to the algorithm, and they don't comprehend your intentions on why you're using it until I get you. And then I have to go and explain and know what it was used for, and they might overturn it.
Yeah. Now, if it was AI, let me explain.
It's not a human being that's reading it.
Dana, quit using the propagandist.
I'm not using anything.
You are.
I'm not.
Artificial intelligence.
No. This is not a discussion or debate on technology. I'm not debating you on that. I really don't care about that. The only thing I want you to do It's
Look,
stop using certain terms. That's
and
it.
look, that's an algorithm. That's not artificial intelligence. What happens if it was artificial intelligence? You could call it up and argue with it on the phone. Just talk.
Because when I go to the help desk to chat with somebody, that's not a human.
Yeah, but it can't resolve it.
Exactly.
Artificial intelligence.
No, it does give artificial don't always give you a resolution.
No, artificial intelligence.
And what they do is
artificial intelligence.
What they do is they tell you, well, if you having this problem, this is
that's not AI.
I don't give a goddamn what it is.
Well, you should.
No, all that is that you need
all
to
that is look.
Because whatever YouTube is using to monitor their algorithm, they're picking it up. That's it.
Here's what they're doing. Somebody sat down at a desk and said, these things would probably indicate somebody saying something we don't agree with. So if you hear any of the following words, flag them automatically. That's not AI. That's a computer acting on instructions. And AI doesn't work that way. AI mimics a human. In other words, AI might agree with you.
No, it doesn't work like that.
Yeah, it does work that way. Okay. The point is they've only touched the surface. They're just getting to the point where very few programs are capable of learning on their own. Where very few programs not only learn on their own, they have to be taught.
Let it go. Because
I'm not. Because we don't need to further that propagandistic bullshit. It's not AI. The point of trying to get you to think it's AI is so they can escape blame for fascist bullshit.
I don't care because while I'm using this, so what? You got to follow the rules.
Well, you fall into the trap.
While I'm using it. So what?
You have to assert your rights.
When you go on Twitter, when you go on any social media, you got to follow those so-called fascist rules.
I tell folk to screw off, fuck off, get off all the time. Now.
No, I'm not playing because of the fact is that you're not going to come up here and keep using the curse words and saying chop this and chop that. Like, I get where you're coming from, but you got to respect what I'm doing at the same time.
I get it, but stop helping them by calling
I'm not helping shit. I'm telling you to stop saying certain things.
Okay, in other words,
because you're for anything,
the term would be
me than me helping them.
The term would be if somebody decided to do something awful and then claim God willed it. God didn't have anything to do with it. Somebody did something awful. So you know the same thing when you say some people did something awful and then they're propagandizing the public into believing it's AI that did it. No, it's somebody instructed an algorithm to get rid of anything that made their little core
you go on social media and
uncomfortable.
You're part of the fascist rules and regulations.
Well, it may be, but you can protest inward.
I don't give a damn.
Protest outward.
Protesting not here. Now, when we go on the other channel, you can protest all you want, but not here.
Look, this doesn't get the algorithms. This is just conversation.
No, it does. No,
they already push us down.
No, but you're not going to tell me
how this works. Me down anyway.
I done had several strikes that I had to overturn. It was something that you had said.
I know.
All right, then. So I'm telling you, stop doing that.
So I can't watch everything I say if it's.
I know you can. This is why
I have to start thinking like a fascist in order to comply with him.
I know you can. This is why I catch you. I know how to.
Yeah, but I don't think
I know how to press this mute button. That's it.
I think like an American citizen. Like I got taught to think way back when. Ain't got nothing to do with white, black, brown, red, yellow.
70s, honey. Nobody can hijack a plane no more. Sorry.
Yeah, you could, but there's 911. They hijacked 4 all by plane. 5 they tried. What happened there?
First of all, Sandra, let me tell everybody who's listening on the chat. Yeah, you can have a problem with it. We all have a problem with it. But just like he said, if you are this.
By the way, I couldn't hear a word you said.
I know, because the thing dropped and now it came back. And this is why we're moving the fuck on.
Somebody censored you.
No, it could have been somebody flagging my channel, which was a human that they allowed to do that shit.
Yeah, right. And they flagged the channel and they need to get hauled in front of a court.
I'm about to talk about the migrants. Okay.
Happening tomorrow, a pilot program begins to give migrants who are living in shelters permits to work in the United States. An application program tomorrow will help process 150 migrants. NBC5's Courtney Sisk breaks down how the process will work and who it leaves out.
When immigrants are given the opportunity to apply for a work permit, we do. When immigrants are given the opportunity to find jobs, we do.
Starting Thursday, new Chicago migrants will have a one-stop shop opportunity to apply for work permits through a pilot project in partnership with federal, state, and city governments. The Resurrection Project of Chicago is heading the process, and while 150 migrants will start the workshop Thursday, they're hopeful to process 300 a day after Thanksgiving.
At the workshops, they will be going through a legal screening, so attorneys will determine if the immigrant is eligible to apply, and if they are, then volunteers will help with the application itself.
Agents from the United States Citizenship and Immigration Services will be on site to accept applications and begin their process. It could take just 1 to 2 months before migrants can start work, but the project doesn't include everyone.
Unfortunately, the current program is actually excluding the long-term undocumented community who has lived in Chicago for a long time.
According to the Resurrection Project, 180,000 undocumented immigrants live in Chicago and have been waiting decades for work permits.
That community will continue to be left out. The Biden administration has not opened up a parole and work permit program for the undocumented community. This includes dreamers.
Immigrants at a Brighton Park migrant meeting this week voiced their frustration with the move.
It's not that I'm against the migrants, it's just it's not fair. There's been plenty of Mexicans who've been here a long time and they still don't even have a permit.
Resurrection Project officials estimate 11,000 of the 20,000 migrants in Chicago will be eligible for the work permits. Reporting downtown, Courtney Sisk, NBC5 News.
That's absolutely disgusting. There are people who have followed the law that have been here decades, can't get any relief. You and I know at least one Native American woman who's been put through all kinds of hoops because even though all of her documents are in order and everything is totally legal, she's still been getting tripped out because she came from the north. You come through illegally from the south and you get a gold carpet to ride on. That's criminal. Somebody that's pushing that ought to be indicted for a number of criminal offenses, aiding and abetting the breaking of a law. Now, that's the way it is. And so you have to understand that this is sending the wrong signal. Violate the law and you get rewarded. Follow the law and you get jacked. What kind of signal is that for a sane administration to advocate? And right here in Memphis, we just got somebody elected who's talking about making this city a sanctuary so this garbage comes through. We have a sheriff right now, a black sheriff, who's talking about making this a sanctuary city. The hell is that?
So this is the thing. So they're approving work permits. What was the number? 11,000 migrants.
In Chicago alone.
Yeah, in Chicago, 11,000 migrants in Chicago will be eligible for work permits. But this is the thing. So, but it leaves out. These are the illegal new.
These are the ones that broke the law that ought to be
right.
So got deported again.
So the other undocumented people that's been there in Chicago that has been waiting for at least a decade for their paperwork because our immigration system always been a mess. And
Time out. I'm familiar with the situation there. These are not undocumented folk that have been waiting. These are folk that have the documentation, except for that green card. They've gone through all of the hoops. They've gone through all of the fires, walked through all of the burning sands. They have all of their paperwork in order. They just don't have that document, the green card. They've done everything else to get it. So that's bull when you start talking about undocumented. What they see, that's how they get slick with you. They are documented. They just don't have the green card. So in other words,
those the ones that is ones who don't have green cards. They're ones who don't have residency. They're waiting to even get their residency.
Yeah, but they filled out all the other documents,
right, exactly.
page after page.
Yeah.
These folk haven't filled out.
They're not eligible for work permits. That's messed up.
These folk haven't filled out a
Go ahead
damn
and talk.
thing.
Just go ahead and talk.
They are illegal. They shouldn't be here. They should be transported back where they came from. If they want to get here like the rest of them and fill out all of the documents and wait in line, they can wait their turn. So we are jumping people who've broke the law to the front of the line. That's just wrong. If you want to see how that feels, next time you go stand in line someplace and you're really getting tired of the tedium of waiting and somebody comes up and jumps the line, yeah, same situation. They need to put them, at least move them to the back of the line if you don't deport them.
Now, I've been doing pre-recorded content on the migrant crisis in Chicago, and I did one in New York. I'm going back and forth. And so it's not just it was the Black people that was suing, but it's not just the Black neighborhoods. It's a section in Chicago called Brighton Park. And those are like 80% Hispanic and 10% Asian. So these are immigrants, and it was like, listen, we came over here, we worked our ass off, to be citizens, waited to be citizen, paid our dues. We don't want them coming here because they're going to be putting them in a contaminated field, building a tent city in a contaminated field that railroads used to just dump stuff. So, and it's a health hazard, right? So it was like, if they're going to be building a tent city, that means going to be dust flying on the residents, and on their property. And then the illegal migrants they're going to be putting it are going to be inhaling it as well. But this is the thing I wanted to ask you. The people who are building these tent cities and all of these private sector people, businesses that are getting these multi-million-dollar contracts from the city, the state, and the federal government, because it also came out last month. It was one medical company got $7 million or something in 1 month. I guess giving some type of medical aid or whatever to the illegal migrants. $7 million. So it's all about the money. So they want these private sectors want these contracts, these multi-million-dollar contracts. The city, the state, they want the money, these billions of dollars from the federal government because they keep going there with their hands out. It is about the money, correct?
No, it's not.
Okay.
What it is I'll use code. It's about the people that want to stuff Congress with representatives and senators who will support anti-family stuff. The cult. That's what they want. In other words, Article 1, they want numbers to increase representation in the
for their own agenda. Right. So they want the numbers, right, to increase representation or push their own agenda via Congress.
And the people that are just getting in will not have gone through the citizenship programs, have not studied the American system.
But it's a two-way street here.
They won't know what they're voting for, like the colored don't know what they're voting for.
But it's a two-way street.
You think you're doing something Black when you put in members of the Congressional Black Caucus? they also belong to the LGBTQIA plus caucus too, and they do more for that one than they do for the black one.
Right.
Well, they don't do anything at
But
all.
it's twofold here. It's twofold here because yes, they want them to come in to increase their numbers, to increase their representation. And on the other hand, you have the private sectors of businesses that help fund these politicians' campaigns. They give them the green light to these multi-million-dollar contracts to develop the tent cities, to give them medical aid or whatever other supplies or the vendors. So it's like one hand washing the other.
Fair enough.
Which goes back to the money.
National Socialist.
I want to increase my representation.
Article 1.
And I want to stay in office, but I also need your money. Or I need businesses' money to help fund me. So to all these 10 businesses, I'm going to give you these multi-million-dollar contracts to help the illegal migrants get set up, and you donate to my campaign. So not only do I have the number of representation to add in another office, your money of your donations, because I did you a favor, you're going to do me a favor.
Now, let me give you a truth in American politics. The party that represents the people typically does not get the most corporate money.
I know.
The party that gets the corporate money does not represent the people.
Right.
The Democratic Party used to represent the working man and the Southern white racist. What has happened is things have changed. The Democratic Party gets big business, high finance money, a lot of it, most of it, overwhelmingly most of it. The Republican Party gets much less. So the Republican Party is morphing to try and help the people, while the Democratic Party is helping its own cult agenda along with big business, who finances their operation. And a large number of the people in the big businesses are part of that cult as well. Beware, that cult is dangerous. It's trying to take the country over and act like a new religion. And just like you get religious zealots who want to make everybody part of their particular faith, well, you have a secular faith that wants to zealously make everybody a part of it. And that's what you're buying into when you bring these little illegal aliens in here and you jump them to the front of the line to kickstart their ability to not just participate in the system, but to ignorantly participate in it. And we have enough ignorance with a lot of the colored folk that are out there who have no clue as to what they're doing or what they're voting for, or the long and short-term consequences of what they support. So just imagine people that know even less.
Mm-hmm.
It's very nasty.
Did you see the video of Suki Hana dancing and twerking pregnant on the stage and dropping it down to a split?
Yeah, I did. Something happened today I'm aware of. School teacher was relating it to me. A boy started twerking and got all up in this other boy's face, and the other boy called him a sissy. So they disciplined the boy that called him a sissy, and they gave a special award to the one that was twerking, tried to pull his pants down when he was twerking so he could do it in his underwear, and they gave him an award for initiative. Interesting.
Very.
That was reported to me.
Remember the Alabama riverboat brawl?
Mm-hmm.
It says the black co-captain involved in a Montgomery ball reportedly charged with third-degree assault. I don't understand. He was the one that was getting beat up on. I mean, other people were charged too, but
Are you talking about the guy that was running the ferry or the guy that was running the little?
guy that was running the ferry.
You talking about the one that was running the fishing float? That
No,
was the
black
yearly.
guy.
All right.
Was it something else? So we were supposed to have a guest, but she kind of didn't send the information. Like I need people information like their background, their name, or a picture or something. So, and I didn't get that. So I said, okay, let's push it for next week, Thursday. So that'll be next week, Thursday. Because that was the young man that was had property or land taken from him, and we kind of, because I was kind of talking about the Silver Dollar Road, and it's like I might just save that for next week. Thank you, Miss Bon Mizabon. LGBT community is hijacked. By who? Oh, the community is hijacked by the people with the cult. Thank you, Rachel.
Yeah, that we've had that in X space, Twitter space, where people we thought would be calling in to troll were actually gay, and they said they thought LGBTQ was poison. It's a cult. They're calling it a cult. You remember we've had that happen a time or two.
Oh, no, you know what? I wanted to ask you about sanctuary cities, the legalities of sanctuary cities. This purpose of sanctuary cities, don't they supposed to have a limit of how many people they're allowed to bring in?
No, that's not what it is. A sanctuary city gives them protection from enforcement of the law. See, a sanctuary, for example, was if somebody, the sheriff, was after you, back sheriff of Nottingham or the king's men were after you, and you took sanctuary in a church, they couldn't violate the sanctuary. And even if you were a wanted criminal, a murderer, or a thief, or whatever, as long as you were inside the sanctuary, you couldn't be touched. So these cities are saying we take the illegals, the criminal elements, the ones that are supposed to be deported, and we will protect them. They can come to us and hide out. We will harbor them. And technically, everybody that's in that, officially or unofficially, ought to be charged with harboring a federal fugitive. If there is an outstanding fugitive warrant and they participate in harboring, that is a federal felony. I know because I have tried people charged with that offense. And they sure go after individuals who are doing it.
But if people voted for it, right, and it's passed,
Yeah, you can't vote for illegality.
Well, they do.
No, you can't vote for a crime. You can vote to decriminalize something. The state legislature may set up a pathway to make official law. But you can't vote for somebody to break the law. You can vote to change the law.
So it says,
when you have a sanctuary city, the reason they call it sanctuary is we will give these illegal people sanctuary and protection so that they can continue to violate the federal law.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So it says a sanctuary city is a municipality that limits or denies its cooperation with the national government in enforcing immigration law.
Yeah. In other words, they all should be prosecuted like they did Donald Trump for January 6th. Every sun clown that comes out here supporting Sanctuary City is trying to support a federal felony, which is harboring, secreting, or giving aid to a felon. When you come across the border, you're technically a felon if you break the law.
So we have an administration, even under Obama to a certain degree, because it was sanctuary,
especially under Obama.
Yeah. But you have administration, a federal administration that send funds to cities that are sanctuary cities. So
yeah, in other words, January 6th.
Wait, let me finish, and please do not. I don't know.
Go ahead. You were doing beautifully.
Yes, I don't stop giving examples. But so what the point I'm trying to make here is, So the purpose of sanctuary cities is for a state, because state is separate from the federal government, a city in a state giving, let's say, refuge to illegal migrants, right?
The criminals.
So they're protecting them from the national government from enforcing the immigration law. But at the same time, depending on what administration is in the White House or in Congress, they are
Aiding and abetting the breaking of American law. That's an impeachable situation.
So why not?
I mean, it's so simple, but nobody gets it. You want to talk about Trump breaking the law to advocate that the vice president not sign off on the Electoral College and follow the Confidence in Elections Act of 1877. Follow it, and it says the vice president shall not endorse the reported Electoral College results, but shall, in lieu thereof, appoint a 15-man committee, 5 from the House, 5 from the Senate, 5 from the Supreme Court, who shall take a minimum of 10 days to conduct an independent audit of the results. When they're talking about Trump violated the law, he was enforcing it. See, a little double speak thing, 1984 by Orwell type thing, double speak, which is why the language is so important. You got people thinking a crime was committed when actually the problem was somebody was advocating enforcement of the law. So you got 180 people there, but then you've got a federal government administration, well, a federal administration over the federal government and various cities. That's thousands of people trying to protect, advocate, and incite the violation of the law. Every time you say, we'll give you a sanctuary city, come on over. You incite somebody to break the law. Not 180 people, but several 100,000.
So what about Texas or Florida busing those illegal migrants to the sanctuary cities? They're not supposed to do that.
In other words, what the point is, we aren't necessarily sending them to sanctuary cities. We're just sending them to certain points within the United States, of which we are part, because the federal government seems to have a friendly relationship there. So let's turn them over to the federal government there, because they're breaking the law and we object to it. We don't want to be stuck with the bill. We tried to follow the law. So why should we pay for criminals?
One more thing on sanctuary cities. Chicago, first Black mayor in the 80s. Actually, I'm going to pull up his information.
Harold Washington.
Yes, correct. San Francisco was the first city. Chicago was the second city under the first Black mayor to draft up a
You're
sanctuary.
talking about Willie Brown.
What are you talking about?
San Francisco, Willie Brown.
I don't care. San Francisco, they were the first to have a sanctuary city.
Yeah, and Willie Brown, the Black mayor.
I don't care. I don't care. I don't care about Willie Brown. That's
Kamala's boy.
Yeah, stop. I don't know why you just stop. I want to talk about Chicago. Chicago had the first Black mayor to issue in a sanctuary city.
Harold Washington, yes.
Yes. So the point where I'm trying to go with this is the responsibility that Black people need to start taking. Because where was the uproar and the protest then?
Because nobody knew where it would lead. Nobody paid attention because the issue wasn't a hot one. It was quiet. And and again, this is be careful what you ask for. You might get it.
Thank you, my 2 cents. I think the states are using Article 1, Section 9, Clause 1, the migration of importation of such persons as any of the states now existing shall think proper to admit. Have you thought about this, Judge Dana?
Yeah, that was used to justify slavery, by the way, and indentured servants.
Does that have to do with the illegal migrants?
Could.
Okay. All All right.
But Article 1 in there, the thing about census and the number to be counted every 10 years for, quote, the primary purpose of apportioning representation in the House of Representatives, unquote, et cetera, et cetera.
Something. Let me see. So
And it also had to do with the Native American or the Indian question.
right. Okay. But fast forward to 2023, is that something that illegal migrants can use for their defense?
No.
Okay. Let me so
See, it was okay. It wasn't specifically against the law. Slavery was outlawed by the 13th Amendment.
Mm-hmm.
There shall be no slavery nor involuntary servitude except upon due process of law as a punishment for a criminal offense, etc., etc.
I want to highlight something.
That certainly is not a punishment when you're giving away free hotel accommodations, free medical care that the rest of us can't get, quick access to being able to work without going through all of the complex waiting period and paperwork and studying your citizenship stuff so you can fit into the American system, at least knowing how it works.
Thank you. All right, that's the end of the show. However, I need to address some things, and you're going to stay right there and you're going to listen. First of all, okay, you speaking the truth. We're in a horrible situation. The law of the beast money is growing stronger. Okay, so this is the thing. This is why. This is so. First of all, wait. Let me just take one thing at a time here. If he's speaking the truth, what are you going to do about it? That's the problem. Let judge talk. No, sir. No, sir. No. No. And I'm about to tell you why. She's so disrespectful and doesn't listen. And now I'm going to curse. The Love Podcast Network, I don't give a fuck what you think. And this is why. You have to stay on the topic. Sometimes he teeter off and he goes around the mulberry bush to grandmother house. Here we come.
Yeah.
And this is and the reason why I have to bring him back. One, I'm no longer talking about Kamala Harris because it doesn't help with my viewership. Two, I clip these live streams. See, I don't care too much about the live stream views. It's the uploads, bitch. And if he goes off into a tantrum about Willie and Kamala, that's messing up the goddamn clips that I gotta go and edit. This is why I have to keep him on the topic, nigga. A relaxed Dana is what I fear. Keep the passion going. Who else? Because it was somebody else talking slick. Was that it?
Point. Okay. It all exists in context.
I guess that was it with the nonsense.
You have to know the context in order
to
figure it out.
I know what the fuck I'm doing. I gotta cut shit up, upload it. No, not you. I'm talking to them. They don't know. And I don't care if you know. It's like I don't care if you get mad. Because y'all motherfuckers, y'all about to pay for this shit. This is why I tell him, not only because I want him to stay on topic, and not only because some of the stuff that we talk about now don't give views because of the FCC, and the Biden administration, that old debacle, but also because of the fact that, editing purposes, and you don't deserve to hear what the hell he got to say unless you're paying for it. And I tell the judge this all the time. He would sit out here and sell his ass for free.
I don't sell ass. Not mine anyway.
And I tell him this all the time. No, you don't deserve what this man knows. No, first of all, you're not going to do shit with it. Even though it can help you. But you still don't deserve to even hear it. This is why I'm putting a price on it. And this is why I stop him, I interrupt him, or I say, no, let's go here, let's go there. Because he's talking too much. And I want him to talk less. This is why we're able to get everything in 2 hours. Anything more, you're going to have to pay for it.
Think of it as a trailer.
Right. All right. Good show. That's it. Oh, one more thing. Sorry. One second.
Context.
Yeah.
Judge Joe Brown's all new barbecue sauce and seasoning. Justice in the form of flavor.
Law firms will take this as a retainer.
What? It must be a law firm where they hungry as hell. Now you gonna help me with this parole I'm dealing with?
Judge Joe Brown's all new barbecue sauce and seasoning. Justice in the form of flavor. With one taste of our premium blends of all natural ingredients, herbs, and spices, you'll fall in love with meat all over again. Judge Joe Brown's all natural barbecue sauce collection is made up of 2 zesty flavors, original and spicy. There's only one way to bring order back to barbecuing. Just add Judge Joe Brown's all natural barbecue sauce and seasoning, and you be the judge.
Go get y'all some barbecue sauce, honey. Thanksgiving is coming. Thanksgiving is coming.
Turkey. It's good on turkey too.
Right.
Especially if you use the seasoning and you know what to do with it. The red label at the top, the seal, that means it's the hot or the spicy. It's not really hot, just spicy.
Yeah, go get y'all some barbecue sauce. Go to the website, order it. It's not on Amazon yet. It will be soon, but go to the website and purchase you that barbecue sauce. I'm on my 4th package of 3. Good.
Thank you. Now this guy I like, Tyree D. Yeah, that's my. There you go.
And here go this Dusty. Judge is a trash. I'm only here for him natural. Well, bitch, this the only place you'll be able to see him.
I like these guys.
Not the Dusty. He don't pay. Have you donated that man Cash App? No, you Dusty.
I did a lot of pro bono.
This is we go live for you guys to see him. So you can see me during the week when I do my uploads. Today is for you to see him. You ain't hurt my feelings, you dust ball.
I did a lot of pro bono work.
No, nigga, I get money.
Do I have to be one of those?
And I'm about to get some more money. I'm about to get some more money because of my mouth.
Oh, something happened today.
Wait, we got let's talk about it.
No,
no, I'm not on period.
No, it won't take long. Breaking news, it just happened today. I'd been saying that the county mayor's office in Memphis, Shelby County, Tennessee, had been ripping off the clerk's office and trying to frame her. Well, the clerk gave a press conference today, Miss Wanda Albert. She was outstanding. She roasted some people and put them out there and wanted them to explain in a free association, she'd be present, and how they allowed outside of the county people to have free access without checking to her to the bank accounts of the clerk's office that now is missing $28 million and thousands of license plates that got hijacked as a result. Interesting set of developments. Crooks, allegedly. But justice has to be initiated. So I found it interesting.
I don't like dust on my channel. I'm sorry. All right, guys. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Now, next week,
fanning it off.
Next week, we're going to be at the Real Judge Joe Brown doing this live. I want to see how that fares out. Say goodbye to Twitter.
Well, yeah.
Say goodnight to Twitter. Say
good night, X.
Yeah, I'm sorry, X. Good night, X.
I like X much better than Twitter. Twitter sounds so much.
I know. Okay.
No, little joke. If you tweet on Twitter, does that make you a twit?
How many times you want to tell that joke?
I know, but I say, old fellow, if you tweet on Twitter, does that make you a twit? I like X so much better. It's got better connotations. It has a ring to it. X.
All right. I'll probably go live over the weekend. I don't know, but I will be putting up uploads. But we'll see you guys next week, Thursday, but on the other channel.
I will be in Florida next
All right,
week.
stop. We'll talk about it off the air. Off the
No,
air.
but I'm just giving
Off
a little
the air.
ad to watch me.
Just say good night.
I just want them to watch me.
No, we're not promoting nobody else right now.
I'm going to promote you on this. Ron DeSantis was on that. They got 3-some million views on it.
I know you're talking about Value Nation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway,
good night.
You hooked me up, didn't you?
Good night. Well, I did send them an email, but I don't know if it was your fat ass fake PR person that called them as well. I'm so mean. I don't care.
Oh, he's a nice guy. Don't go that way on him.
I don't know him.
Yeah, you should. He's a real nice guy.
Why all the cussing? Because I can, nigga. All right. Good night, everybody. This is fun. Oh, wait, I forgot. Damn. Thank you, everybody sent in Cash App. Who was it? Anthony C. Mac, Becky, Cartaginian, Jay, Rachel. Thank you guys so much for Cash Apps. And everybody that sent in donation, love you most of all. And I'm pretty sure Judge got Cash App, but he don't check it or whatever. But
somebody checking it.
Yeah, he got somebody else check it, so he don't get it in real time. But thank you in advance for sending home Cash App. And we'll see you guys, I guess, sometime next week. All right. Good night. Bye.